Okay, so we're going to move forward today with some application of X and Y intercepts. So to start, we're going to do some table work, and today's pretty heavy on the technology, so you need to have a couple things open. The first being your Desmos graphing calculator, and you're probably also going to want to have your Desmos scientific calculator open to help us as we're developing this table. And then, of course, we'll need Schoology open. We're actually going to do part of our homework together today with our Desmos activity. Okay, so go ahead and start taking a look at these tables. And I want you to think about how I can come up with the values here in this table. How do I come up with the Y values in this table? Well, hopefully you realized that to fill in a table, if I know the X value, then it's really just substitution. So if Y equals -7 times an X value, I can put my -5 in there. And -7 times -5, that's 35 minus 6. That's going to give me 29. And I can do it again with the -7 and come up with 49 minus 6. That's going to give me 42. And I can do it one more time. It wouldn't be 49, though. -7 times -2 minus 6. So 14 minus 6 is going to give me 8. Okay, now that's time consuming. Okay, that's time consuming. So I can also make use of my scientific calculator to do the math for me. So if I start with -7 times -2, there's my parenthesis, minus 6, you can see it gives me 8. Now here's the cool part. If I'm doing something like this, I can literally just move over using my left and right arrows and delete my -2 and make that a 9, and it gives me the answer -69. And then I can move over again and make that a -1, and it tells me the answer is 1. Okay, it tells me the answer is 1. So Desmos Scientific Calculator is definitely helpful when doing substitution. Definitely make use of that to help you evaluate tables and make tables. We're actually going to take a look at this next one, and we're going to realize that this one gets a little bit messier because it has a 1/3. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this, and I'm going to put in 1 divided by 3, and I'm going to move over, put my parenthesis, and my first number is a 1. First number is a 1. So I've got my parenthesis and then -5. Well, that came up with -4.666667. So I know that I can't graph all of that. It's going to be an estimate anyway. So what I'm going to do if I have a decimal is I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So that would be -4.7. There's no point in putting 6666 repeating or even hundredths because you can't accurately graph that anyway. Now, obviously, I can do that again. I can click inside of here, take that out, make it a 4, and that gives me a -3.7, and so forth. Okay, but there's actually an easier way to come up with a value of tables by using the Desmos graphing calculator. So I want you to switch over to the Desmos graphing calculator. Okay, and let's go ahead and put in the equation y equals 1/3 x minus 5. So y equals 1 divided by 3. There's my x, minus 5. Now notice that it's drawing the line for us. Okay, it is going to graph the line for us, and that's fine. We don't really need to see the line right now. I'm more interested in the table. Okay, in the table, but I don't have a table yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this gear. Okay, so click on the gear, and you'll see how it gives you an X, it gives you a duplicate, and it gives you the table option. So we're going to click on the table. So notice how it gives me all my values. So it tells me that the 2 value is -4.3. So I can already put this one in. Now I don't see 7 and I don't see -3. However, if I go to this next spot, I can hit 7 and it tells me what that answer is. So -2.7. And I can move down a spot and I can put in a -3. And it tells me that is a -6. Okay? So underneath this gear is a lot of options. So if I click this gear, I can actually change the color. I can change my points to open circles to X's. I can change my line to different types of lines. It has lots of options there, okay? Lots of options. So if you're ever looking for something or trying to change something, always hit the gear, okay? Always hit the gear and then tell it you're done. So that is really cool the way that works. All right, so now you can go ahead and exit out of your Desmos graphing calculator and go ahead and go into your homework for today, which is a Desmos activity, and minimize that for a couple minutes, and we will come to that in just a few minutes after we kind of get our head wrapped around standard form equations as kind of a review. So as we start this, we need to kind of think about defining the variables, okay? And that means we're coming up with the labels of what X and Y are. And remember, standard form is AX plus BY equals C, okay? AX plus BY equals C. And standard form equations are really simple to identify because they always give you two things and a total, okay? Like cheeseburgers, French fries, and money, or apples, bananas, and money. There's always two things and a total, okay? And that's a clear way to know that you're dealing with a standard form. And the way that we determine who is X and who is Y is just who comes first in the story problem, because X comes first in the alphabet. So let's go ahead and read this problem, and we're going to read it once and then go back and look for the important information. So each pair of socks in a store costs $6. Each pair of gloves costs $7. If you want to spend exactly $40, write an equation in standard form modeling the situation. Let S represent the number of pairs of socks you buy and G represent the pairs of gloves you buy. So the first thing I want to do is look for the two things, okay? The two things. So each pair of socks costs $6. So that's the first thing I'm coming across. So since that's the first thing I'm coming across, that is my X value. So X is going to be my socks. Okay, X is going to be my socks. And then I keep reading. It says each pair of gloves costs $7. So that is the next thing that's important. But that is the second thing I'm coming across. So my Y are the gloves. Okay, keep reading. If you want to spend exactly $40, that number is super important because that is my total. Okay, that is my total. Now, from there, I should be able to write my equation. My XY equation is pretty simple. The first number that we came across that went with the X was the 6. The 7 goes with the Y, and my $40. Okay, now if we write it with the letters that it gave us, the S and the G, that would be 6S plus 7G equals 40. 6 socks plus 7 gloves equals 40. Okay, why don't you hit pause and see if you can come up with this next equation and figure out what your variables would be. Remember, these are words. Okay, so hopefully, as you read this, the first thing you came across is the $30, and you have to realize that's your total. So that is going to go here. And then I have company A, 0.79, company B, 0.99. So the X is going to be company A, the Y is going to be company B. Okay? So the first number, the 0.79, goes with the X. The 0.99 goes with the Y, and I have $30. So coming up with the equations is really simple. It's whatever comes first is X, whatever comes next is Y, and then we have a total, okay? All right, go ahead and open up your Schoology assignment to the Desmos, and we're actually going to do part of our homework together today. I'm going to get you started, then I'm going to cut you loose and let you work, okay? So to start with, we are looking at the drama club putting on a play, and they're selling tickets. Okay, they're selling tickets. So as part of that, it says, by selling tickets for the play, the club hopes to raise $600 for the drama fund for new costumes, scripts, and scenery for future plays. Let X represent the number of adult tickets they sell at $8 each, and let Y represent the number of student tickets they sell at $5 each. Okay, so if I follow what we've been doing to read through this, I know I have a total, and it says X is adult tickets and Y is student tickets. Okay, so I have X is adult and Y is going to be student. So that's just going to help me remember what I'm doing. So I have something X plus something Y. Give myself a little more room there. Is equal to my total of $600. Well, it says the adult tickets are $8 and the child tickets are $5. So we just came up with our equations. So go ahead and on your slide 2, type in your equation. So 8x plus 5y is equal to 600. Submit that and move on to your next slide. All right, so the next slide is asking us to actually calculate the x and y intercepts. And if you remember this from yesterday, it's just a matter of substitution. Okay, it's just a matter of substitution. So remember, in the x-intercept, the y is 0. In the y-intercept, the x is 0. Okay, so I have 8x plus 5 times the 0 is equal to 600. So I have to figure out what x is. And I have the same thing over here, but this time the equation looks like this. So take a second and figure out what your x is and what your y is. Okay, hopefully you came up with x being 75 and y being 120. Okay, so now how do I know which one goes where here? Well, this is my x and this is my y. So here's a y. So the 120 would have to go here. So this is going to be my y-intercept. And then I also have my x-intercept, which is going to be 75. So on slide 3, you're going to put in 120 and you're going to put in 75. And then take a minute and tell me, how do you know which point is your x-intercept and which point is your y-intercept? And then go ahead and share with the class. All right, now, slide 4. We're going to do some graphing on Desmos. We're actually going to graph these 2 points. Okay, we're going to graph these 2 points. So the cool part about Desmos is you can put in ordered pairs just like you write them. So the first ordered pair we had was 75, 0. And you see how that's down there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and label that. And then I want to go ahead and click below that. And this was going to come up a different color. And the next one was 0, 0, 120. And I'm going to go ahead and label that. And then I can shrink this if I want to, if it's in my way. But more importantly, I also want to put in my equation and I want to see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to type in 8x plus 5y equals 600. And notice how it has created our graph for us. Okay, it has created our graph for us. So we have our y-intercept down here at 75, or x-intercept down here at 75. We have our y-intercept up here at 120. And we have adult tickets and we have student tickets. Okay, adult tickets and student tickets. All right, now, this next part, we actually are going to make use of our graph, okay, to analyze what is happening on the picture. So it says that we have to figure out what the x represents in this situation. Okay, the x represents in this situation. So I know that x-intercept is 75, 0. Okay, and I also know that x was the adult tickets and the y was the student tickets. Okay, x is the adult tickets and y is the student tickets. So I know if I look at this, I can buy 75 adult tickets and 0 student tickets. And my total cost is still going to be $600 because it's lying on that line. Okay, it's lying on that line. Okay, go ahead and move on to the y-intercept and see if you can figure out what the meaning of the y-intercept is. Remember that y-intercept is 0, 120. So see if you can write that sentence. Okay, if you came up with, I can buy 0 adult tickets and 120 student tickets for $600, you are correct. You are correct. Good job. All right, now, we need to figure out other options for selling tickets to make $600, okay? Because I cannot sell only adult tickets and I cannot sell just student tickets. So I'm going to have some other combination, okay? Some other combination. So I'm going to take a look at my line here and I can see there's points all the way, but I really kind of like this point right here because it looks to me like it is an exact point. Okay, it looks to me like it's an exact point. So if I can make it find it. So right now I'm not quite exact. But if I'm on that point right there, that's 25, 80. Okay, 25, 80. Well, what does that mean? Remember, we had adult and we had students. So what it means is I can buy 25 adult tickets and 80 student tickets for $600. And that is one option that will work. Now take a look down here. Let's see if we can find another one. Do you see another one that looks like it's an exact that I think I can figure out? Hopefully you located this one down here at 50. And it looks like it's right about 50 and 40. Okay, it looks like it's pretty close to 50 and 40 right there. 50 and 40. So what does that one mean? What would that statement be? If you wrote, I can buy 50 adult tickets and 40 student tickets for $600, you are absolutely correct. Okay, so you should be able to move forward with this and finish up your homework. You're going to take a look at another scenario, which has to do with a scrapbook project and buying stickers and scrapbooks. And you're going to do some analysis kind of like what you just did. So move forward, and I will catch up with you tomorrow where we actually move into some graphing.